What if that flicker you see out of the corner of your eye isn't just your mind playing tricks? What if it's real? Stick with me, because what I'm about to share, it's not a ghost story. It's worse. It's real. Hey everyone. So, today's story is a heavy one. It's something that, honestly, still makes my skin crawl just thinking about it. We've all had those moments, right? You're home alone, it's late, and suddenly every creak and groan of the house sounds like something else. Your brain starts painting pictures. Usually it's nothing. Usually. This is about the time it wasn't nothing. And no, we're not talking about spirits or anything supernatural. We're talking about something far more terrifying because it's grounded in a reality we all share. This is the true story of the shadow in my house. It started subtly. You know how it is. A flicker in my peripheral vision. I'd be on the couch, reading or watching something, and I'd think I saw something move in the hallway. Just a dark shape, a deeper patch of black in the already existing shadows. I'd look up, heart doing that little kick drum solo, and nothing. At first, I brushed it off. You're tired, I told myself. Too much caffeine, or it's just the headlights from cars passing by, making the shadows dance. We all do that, don't we? We rationalize. Our brains are wired to find logical explanations, to make sense of the unsettling. It's a survival mechanism, I guess. Dr. Daniel Kahneman, in his book Thinking, Fast and Slow, talks about how our brains have these two systems, one that's quick and intuitive and one that's more deliberate and logical. My intuitive brain was screaming danger, but my logical brain was desperately trying to shut it up. But it kept happening. And the feeling that I wasn't alone, it started to get under my skin. It was like a splinter, just a tiny irritation at first, but then it festered. I started double-checking locks, which I always did, but now it was with a knot in my stomach. I paused my TV shows just to listen to the silence, straining my ears for anything out of the ordinary. Have you ever been so quiet you can hear your own heartbeat in your ears? Yeah, that was me almost every night. The shadow seemed to have a favorite spot, the end of the hallway, right near the spare bedroom. It was always fleeting, never there when I looked directly. And here's the thing that really started to mess with me. Sometimes, it felt intentional. Like it was just out of sight, deliberately. I know, sounds paranoid, right? That's what I kept telling myself. You're letting your imagination run wild. But what if it's not your imagination? What if that primal instinct, the one that's kept our species alive for millennia, is actually picking up on something real? There's this concept in psychology called threat detection. Our brains are incredibly good at scanning for potential dangers, even on a subconscious level. Sometimes that system can be a bit overactive, sure, leading to anxiety. But other times it's spot on. The turning point came on a Tuesday. I remember it was raining, one of those persistent, dreary drizzles that just adds to the gloom. I was in the kitchen making a late snack, and I saw it again. Not just a flicker this time. It was denser. More defined, for just a split second, at the edge of the living room archway. And this time, there was a sound. So faint, I almost missed it. A tiny scuff. Like a shoe on a wooden floor, trying not to make a noise. My blood went cold. Instantly. Every rationalization, every excuse I'd made for weeks, it just evaporated. This wasn't the house settling. This wasn't a trick of the light. My mind raced. What do you do? Seriously, think about it. You're in your home, your sanctuary, and you suddenly realize there's someone else there. Someone who shouldn't be. The FBI's Uniform Crime Reporting Program consistently shows that a significant percentage of burglaries occur when residents are home. It's not just an empty house crime. That thought? Terrifyingly real. I didn't scream. I didn't move. I just stood there, heart hammering against my ribs like it wanted out. Every horror movie scenario flashes through your head, but real life is messier. More confusing. My phone was on the counter. Could I reach it? What if they heard me? What if they were armed? And then, I heard it again. Another tiny sound, closer this time, from the hallway, near my bedroom. Okay, this is it. Adrenaline is a heck of a thing. Suddenly, I wasn't just scared, I was calculating. My kitchen leads to the back door. The hallway leads to the front door, but also where they were. I made a decision. I grabbed my phone, my hand shaking so much I almost dropped it, and I didn't go for the back door. I went for the loudest, most obnoxious thing I could think of. My car keys right there on the hook. I snatched them, hit the panic button. The silence that followed the alarm was deafening for a split second, and then I heard it, a thud, not a scuff this time, a thud from the direction of the spare room, then hurried footsteps, heavy ones, moving away from my bedroom, towards the front of the house. The front door, which I knew I had locked, rattled and then slammed open. I was already dialing emergency services, babbling my address, what was happening. I didn't see them. I didn't see a face. All I saw, as I peeked, terrified, around the kitchen archway, was the front door swinging shut and the faintest suggestion of a dark shape disappearing into the rainy night. The police arrived. They cleared the house. The spare room window was unlocked, the screen neatly sliced. They said it was probably someone opportunistic, saw a pattern, thought the house was empty, or I was asleep. The shadow I'd been seeing? It was likely them. Scoping the place out. Maybe they'd been in the house before, briefly, when I was out. Or just watching from outside, learning my routine, and what I'd been seeing were their attempts to test entry points, or even them inside for fleeting moments, always retreating when they heard me approach. That initial, fainter scuff sound? Perhaps a misstep during one of those incursions. The police report called it a burglary interrupted. It's a hard thing to process. That sense of security in your own home? It shattered. For weeks, months even, every shadow was suspect. Every noise made me jump. It changes you. You become more vigilant, almost obsessively so. The shadow wasn't a ghost. It was a real person with real intentions. And honestly, that's so much scarier. Because ghosts, well, they're stories. But a person who wants to violate your space, your safety? That's a horror that can walk through your door. Or, in my case, your window. So, why am I sharing this? Because I think we often dismiss our gut feelings. We're taught to be rational, to not make a fuss. But sometimes that little voice, that uneasy feeling, it's trying to tell you something important. Trusting that instinct, in my case, and then acting on it, even if it was just hitting a panic button, probably prevented something much, much worse. It also makes you think, doesn't it? How secure are we, really? We lock our doors, but are we truly paying attention? Do we know our neighbors? Do we look out for each other? Simple things like reinforced door frames, better window locks, alarm systems, they aren't just for peace of mind, they are practical deterrents. The experts at a site like the National Crime Prevention Council ncpc.org offer tons of resources on home security, things we often don't think about until it's too late. This isn't about fear-mongering. It's about awareness. It's about acknowledging that these things happen not in some far-off place, but in our neighborhoods, in our homes. What would you have done? Have you ever had that chilling feeling of not being alone only to dismiss it? What steps do you take to feel secure in your own space? I'd genuinely love to hear your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. It's a conversation worth having. And look, because this is a recounting of a very personal and unsettling event, and while home invasions are a documented reality, this narrative is based on the real horror of such events, but the specific details are for the purpose of sharing this experience and its lessons. It's a reconstruction meant to highlight the psychological impact and the importance of vigilance. If you're interested in home security, always consult official resources and professionals. Alright everyone, that's it for this one. It was a bit intense, I know. If you found this story impactful, or if it made you think, please give it a like and consider subscribing for more content that dives deep into stories that matter. Stay safe out there, look out for each other, and always trust your gut. I'll see you in the next one.